Ribeye steak is often hailed as the king of the carnivore diet, a high-protein, zero-carb eating plan that primarily consists of animal products. Known for its marbling, tenderness, and rich flavor, ribeye steak can be an undeniably indulgent and satisfying choice for those following this type of diet. Its fatty content makes it especially prized among carnivore dieters who believe that high-fat cuts of meat are essential for meeting their nutritional needs. However, while ribeye steak may have its appeal, it's important to consider both the benefits and the potential drawbacks before embracing it as a dietary staple. Ribeye steak is loaded with protein, an essential macronutrient that helps build and repair muscles, supports immune function, and contributes to the production of enzymes and hormones. For people following the carnivore diet, which restricts or eliminates plant-based foods, protein becomes a primary source of sustenance. Ribeye steak, with its tender texture and rich flavor, can be an excellent source of this nutrient, offering a significant amount of protein in a single serving. Additionally, the fat content in ribeye steak provides a dense source of energy, which some dieters prefer to the carbohydrates and fiber found in plant-based foods. However, the very characteristics that make ribeye steak a favorite among carnivore dieters, its high fat and calorie content, also present several potential health concerns. Ribeye is a cut of meat that is notably rich in saturated fats, which have long been associated with an increased risk of heart disease, high cholesterol, and stroke. While recent research has suggested that the relationship between saturated fats and heart disease may be more complex than previously believed, many health experts still recommend limiting saturated fat intake to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. Regular consumption of fatty cuts like ribeye can lead to higher levels of LDL cholesterol, also known as bad cholesterol, which contributes to the buildup of plaque in the arteries. This plaque buildup can lead to atherosclerosis, a condition that narrows the arteries and increases the risk of heart attacks and other cardiovascular issues. In addition to the concerns surrounding saturated fat, ribeye steak, like many other red meats, contains high levels of heme iron. While iron is an essential nutrient for carrying oxygen in the blood, excessive intake of heme iron, particularly from animal sources, has been linked to an increased risk of certain cancers, including colorectal cancer. Studies have suggested that high consumption of red and processed meats may raise the risk of developing cancers due to the presence of harmful substances like heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, which are formed when meat is cooked at high temperatures. These compounds have been shown to damage DNA and increase the likelihood of cancer cell formation. Although moderate consumption of red meat is generally considered safe for most individuals, the carnivore diet, which promotes the regular consumption of ribeye steak and other red meats, may expose individuals to a greater risk of developing cancer over time. Another concern with consuming ribeye steak regularly is its lack of essential nutrients that are found in plant-based foods, such as fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. The carnivore diet, in general, is criticized for its extreme exclusion of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, which are known to provide a wealth of nutrients vital for overall health. For example, ribeye steak contains virtually no fiber, which is essential for maintaining digestive health and regulating bowel movements. A diet devoid of fiber can lead to constipation, poor gut health, and an increased risk of developing chronic conditions like diverticulitis, hemorrhoids, and even colorectal cancer. Furthermore, the absence of antioxidants in the carnivore diet may leave the body more vulnerable to oxidative stress, which can contribute to the development of chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, and certain types of cancer. Additionally, ribeye steak, particularly when consumed in large quantities, can contribute to excessive calorie intake. This can be especially problematic for individuals who are not physically active or who have a sedentary lifestyle. The high fat and calorie density of ribeye steak, combined with the lack of portion control in many carnivore eating habits, can lead to unwanted weight gain and obesity. While the body requires fat for energy, excessive intake of high-calorie foods without balancing them with physical activity can result in an unhealthy caloric surplus, which may lead to an increased risk of metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, and other related conditions. For individuals with pre-existing health conditions such as hypertension, diabetes, or kidney disease, the regular consumption of ribeye steak may exacerbate symptoms or increase the risk of complications. The high levels of protein and saturated fat in ribeye can place additional strain on the kidneys, particularly in those with kidney disease. High-protein diets can lead to an increased workload on the kidneys, potentially worsening kidney function over time. Additionally, the sodium content in processed ribeye steaks or those cooked with added salt can contribute to higher blood pressure, which is a risk factor for heart disease and stroke. The environmental impact of consuming large amounts of beef, including ribeye steak, is another factor to consider when evaluating the sustainability of a carnivore diet. The production of beef has a significant environmental footprint, with livestock farming contributing to deforestation, water pollution, and greenhouse gas emissions. Ruminant animals like cows produce methane, a potent greenhouse gas, which contributes to climate change. As the global population continues to rise and the demand for animal products increases, the environmental consequences of a beef-heavy diet could exacerbate the effects of climate change and strain natural resources. Choosing to consume ribeye steak regularly may contribute to these environmental challenges, especially when beef production continues to increase to meet the demands of the carnivore and paleo diets. While ribeye steak is undeniably a rich source of protein, fat, and certain vitamins and minerals, it should not be consumed without considering the potential risks. The high levels of saturated fat, heme iron, and the lack of essential nutrients, such as fiber and antioxidants, can lead to long-term health issues, including cardiovascular disease, cancer, and digestive problems. Furthermore, the environmental cost of beef production and the strain it places on the planet is a growing concern that cannot be ignored. As with any diet, balance is key, and relying too heavily on a single food, even one as flavorful as ribeye steak, may have unintended consequences for both personal health and the health of the planet. For those considering a carnivore diet or regularly consuming ribeye steak, it's important to be mindful of these potential drawbacks and make informed decisions about overall diet and lifestyle choices.